Good evening, and welcome to the Fireside Chat for the Fredericksburg Rotary Club. I'd like to start off with a general overview of Rotary and what Rotary is. There is, if you will, the umbrella organization that we're all a part of, and that is known as Rotary International. There are basically three components. There's Rotary International, there are the clubs, and then there's the Rotary Foundation. Each club consists of its members and is part of a district, which is part of a zone. We are in District 7610. The number of Rotary clubs, there are over 2,000 clubs consisting of, on a worldwide basis, approximately 1.4 million members. The Rotary Foundation is there to ensure that our donations to the foundation are contributed in support of the Rotary mission, again, throughout not only our own communities, but throughout the world. The first Rotary Club was formed by an attorney in Chicago by the name of Paul P. Harris. And he did that in 1905 by bringing together individuals dedicated to exchange ideas and build meaningful and lifelong relationships and to take action in their communities and in the world. The term Rotary was actually formed because the club initially started rotating around to various businesses to hold their meetings. So hence the term Rotary grew. At first it was called the National Association of Rotary Clubs. Then in 1910, it quickly changed to the International Association of Rotary. And then finally in 1922, the name Rotary International was adopted. We have something known as the four-way test. And this is what makes up the guiding principles of Rotary and really binds us in the things that we think, the things that we say, and the things that we do. And the four-way test is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? And finally, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Additionally, we subscribe to, if you will, a code of conduct as Rotarians. One that, as a Rotarian, I will act with integrity and high ethical standards in my personal and in my professional life. I will deal fairly with others and treat them and their occupations with respect. I will use my professional skills through Rotary as a mentor to young people, to help those with special needs, and to improve the quality of life for people in our communities and, again, in the world. And finally, I will avoid behavior that reflects adversely on Rotary and other Rotarians. So as Rotarians, we have 5 avenues of service, 5 ways in which we can contribute. And they are club service, doing things to strengthen our club, vocational service, doing things that will enhance vocations, using the strengths of our own vocations to mentor others through community service, and finally through international and then youth service. So what does Rotary do? What are the things that we focus on? Well, we have this thing called the object of Rotary. And the object of Rotary is to exchange and foster ideas as a means of service, as we begin to foster the developments of acquaintance, and this is really at the club level, as an opportunity for service. We get to know one another and our fellow Rotarians. Second, by maintaining high ethical standards in our business and professions. We recognize the worthiness of all occupations and identify this as an opportunity to serve our communities. Third, the application of our ideas of service in each Rotarian's personal, business, and community life. And fourth object of Rotary is the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through world fellowship of business and professional persons. So here comes the good part. Now we're going to get into a little bit about your club, the Fredericksburg Rotary Club. It's important to note that this is a board-driven and a board-run club. We have between 13 and 15 members of the board of directors. They include the current officers of the club, past officers, past president, and members at large, and they're elected annually. We hold regular meetings on Thursday, nearly every Thursday of the year. We do have a couple of Thursdays off. We begin our meetings at 6:30 sharp and conclude at 7:30. Our meeting place is announced, but it is a regular. You will know it is going to be at that location, but it will be announced by the President's program and weekly newsletter. On a quarterly basis, the club conducts business meetings. These are typically closed meetings, meaning no guests, and the club finances are discussed. Projects for the year are discussed. We besides business meetings, we also have I will say, rather robust social opportunities. They include, starting in January, because we shut down, we don't have meetings for the last 2, perhaps even 3 Thursdays in December, depending on when the Thursday falls in the month. Then we begin first Thursday in January with our kickoff cocktail party. We conduct an oyster roast in March, a pig roast in May, and then our big fundraiser, and you'll hear more about that in a moment, but the reverse raffle in June. Sprinkled in there, we have things like the speech contest, and we hear from our Rotaract Club, which is the high school club for potential future Rotarians. We do have a dress code, and it is in force from Labor Day to Memorial Day, and it's a jacket and tie dress code. During the summer months, from the beginning of June or just after Labor Day, we go to no jacket and no tie, so it's a little more relaxed. Now, it's interesting to point out that, we see that Rotary was formed in 1905 by Paul Harris. This club was organized in May of 1922, so we are over 100 years old. An amazing testimonial. I encourage each of you new members and you old members, you existing members, to take a look at the directory, which again is published on an annual basis. In it, there is just so much wonderful information. I'd like to just digress for a second and talk about, I guess, the second president of the club. His name was Algernon Chandler, and he was the president of the then normal school for the Virginia Normal Schools for Virginia, which ultimately became the University of Mary Washington. There is a select pin that has been passed down since his presidency with a gem in it. We keep it in the safe deposit box, but it's given to the president for safekeeping during the president's term. I don't have it on, but the president, has the option of wearing the A.B. Chandler pin, throughout his presidency. So another interesting, again, I say take a look at the directory, and because it's full of really, really interesting information. And when you look at the charter members of the club, you'll see some names that certainly, even to this day, will ring true, like holy smokes. But one guy, Robert Alfred Kishpaw, known as Bob Kishpaw, was born in 1874, and he led kind of a tragic life. His dad died and left him and his mom and siblings alone to manage the Kishbaugh household. Well, Bob was one of the charter members of the Rotary Club in 1922 and eventually served as president of the club years later in 1934 and 35. Those were his president years. He was a very interesting character, literally a bachelor until he was 75. Very successful merchant. He was a stationer. And I think it was 1908, he was the owner of the very first automobile in Fredericksburg, and it was a one-cylinder Cadillac. And he actually, it was like, holy, would you shut that thing down? I can't stand the noise. But, it started, obviously, something very interesting. So when Bob Kishbaugh passed, again, due to his great love for Rotary, he donated his home and all of its furnishings to the club. The club held on to it for a while and continued to meet at Kishbaugh's home, but then eventually sold the home and put the money into a trust, which we now know as the Kishbaugh Fund. It is managed locally. It has grown, and it also provides additional income without going into the corpus of the trust for the club president to spend for community donations and whatever the club president sees fit within the mission of the club. So how can you get involved in this club? And so I'm going to talk about kind of the annual, the avenues of service. Again, I strongly advise and recommend to each of you that you look through the directory, look at the club, the committees rather, that are contained within the directory. The Health and Welfare Committee, the Interact Club Liaison, Scholarship Committee, Reverse Raffle Committee, Kishbaugh Committee, Special Events, Program, and Membership Committees. Being involved in these committees will get you plugged in to the operation of the club and allow you to contribute in a meaningful way.
Rob, let's repeat that. I can edit that out.
Yes.
We had the
Sure. So we're talking about avenues of service. How can you get involved in this club? And that really is through our committees. If you look at the committee structure, we have membership, special events, program, the Reverse Raffle Committee, Scholarship, Kishbaugh, the Foundation Committee, Health and Welfare, and the liaison for the Interact Club. Getting involved in any one or even more of these committees will really give you a flavor for the great things that this club does. We hold an annual speech contest. We've stood up a Interact or Rotaract club at Massaponax High School, and Rotaract is the kind of the junior Rotary club that is geared towards high school students. We do a dictionary distribution to third graders in the city of Fredericksburg, and which is a real hoot, because I can see some members in here that have participated in that, and the children get such a kick out of seeing these guys in suits pass out dictionaries, and many of them it's the first book they've ever owned. So again, please give me a moment to talk about our annual scholarship awards, and which are the money for that is generated through our reverse raffle. What's a reverse raffle, you say? I mean, I know what a raffle is. I buy a ticket and it goes in a hat, and somebody pulls it out, and I win the pot. That is a raffle, but a reverse raffle is the last man standing wins. And we have a great big board put up on the evening of each person that buys a ticket can see their number on the board, and then the MC pulls tickets out of the barrel and reads off, oh. So the efforts of the reverse raffle we raise enough money to cover the cost of the party, and it is a great party. I refer to it as one of the it parties in Fredericksburg. It is open bar, and we raise enough money through ticket sales and sponsor donations to cover the cost of the event, plus give out $27,500 in scholarships. 4 $5,000. 4 $5,000 scholarships and 3 $2,500 scholarships. The $2,500 scholarships go to Germana, and through the efforts of the scholarship committee, they select the winners from each of the various high schools. So it's a win-win for the community and for the club. So I'm going to talk for a minute about the Rotary Foundation. Our club has been very fortunate in receiving the designation of EREY, which is every Rotarian every year. This recognizes the Rotarian's contribution of at least $100 per year to the foundation, and that $100 is billed to the members. It isn't an obligation. You're not required to pay it. You won't be done, and no one knows whether you paid it or not. But for somehow we actually receive that designation, and we have for a number of years, every Rotarian every year. So good on all. We also have an additional contribution that we make, $26. Currently that may change, that we contribute individually to the eradication of polio. Again, those monies go right to the foundation. Now, we do have an opportunity to receive some of that money back in something called district grants. And you'll need to make sure you attend the program given by our foundation chair, because he can really get into the fine details of that. Members that contribute a total of $1,000. Now, it could be $100 a year for 10 years, or it could be $1,000 in 1 year, but that designates, or that member receives a designation known as the Paul Harris Fellow. Now, we have currently in the directory 63 Paul Harris Fellows, active club members that have given at least $1,000 to the foundation. Now, this is not to the club. But the more interesting thing is we have 47 out of those 63 that have the designation of multiple Paul Harris Fellows. And you'll see in the directory, Paul Harris Fellow +1, +2, and we have others that contribute on a monthly basis, but your opportunity to give to the foundation is there. So dues in our club is billed quarterly, and it's billed in arrears. So when you get your bill, let's say on the 1st of January, you are actually paying for the prior quarter, October through December. So the club essentially has been gracious enough to cover all of your meals and any donations that they have to make until they bill. So it's in arrears. And there's another very interesting aspect to this club, and that is something known as pre-Rotary. Pre-Rotary is an organization that is made up not necessarily of all Rotarians. There are members of the community that like the fellowship but can't commit to being a member. So pre-Rotary turns out to be an event that begins at 5 o'clock on Thursday, the day of each meeting, and it's hosted generally by, could be a Rotarian, could be a member of the community, either at their home or at a restaurant or somewhere where they are able to invite people in for fellowship, and there might be some brown liquor served. Interesting thing about the Fredericksburg Rotary Club is that we are always looking for new members, but we only offer membership by invitation. So how do you get an invitation? How did you get an invitation to Rotary? Well, you were encouraged by an existing member of the club to join us at our meeting, even a pre-Rotary, so that you have an opportunity to be seen and see us. We get to know you, you get to know us. And this is kind of it can be a protracted process. It could take up to, 4 or 5 months. Again, we like to see you as a repeat, and again, you are our guest, but we like to see you as repeat attendees to meetings and other gatherings. And then when it's appropriate, your sponsor will ask you to complete an application, and that application will be circulated, will submitted to the membership chairman. The membership chairman then circulates it to the board of directors. The board of directors reviews it, and if there are no objections at the board level, then the prospective member is presented to the entire membership. Again, one more chance for the membership to say, yes, we'd like to invite this person, or perhaps I know some reason that we wouldn't invite them. What can you do? What are going to be your obligations as a member of Rotary? Attendance at Rotary, regular attendance, is a Rotary International guide. You can make up for meetings at any other club in the area or in the world, anywhere in the country, if you're so predisposed. I do know of one member locally, not of our club, but I believe that this person has a perfect attendance record that spans more than 38 years. And this person, when he travels, if he's in Thailand, he finds a Rotary meeting in Thailand. And if he's in Leesburg, he finds a Rotary meeting in Leesburg. Otherwise, he's at his regular meeting. So our dues, again, they are billed in arrears. They are now $250 per quarter. And once a year, you will get 2 add-ons to that bill. Your quarterly bill will include a recommended donation to the foundation of $100 and $26 to the polio eradication. I mentioned a number of social events, like the reverse raffle and the pig roast and the oyster roast, and the pig roast, not the oyster roast. Those are, we'd be happy to have you bring a +1 to any of those social events. At our weekly meetings, which I indicated begin promptly at 6:30, and we are very time sensitive to this because we respect your time, and we want to get you in, we want to get you fed. I failed to mention that a lovely dinner is served at each of our meetings, and each meeting also includes, due to the hard work of your program committee, a speaker or presenter of some local topic. Could be real estate development. It could be another nonprofit in the community. Something that ties into our mission. We try not to make those programs a woe is me, like you all to write a check to support the organization, but more informational and beneficial to just increasing your knowledge in the community. So in conclusion, I would like to invite you, each and every one of you, to make a difference. May Rotary offer you that opportunity as we welcome you to your Rotary journey.